So hello everybody and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Jesper, I'm from Astera, just in case you haven't seen me before, so let's just get this straight from the very beginning. As I said, welcome to today's webinar. We will talk about the layer effects, which is actually a pretty big feature of the Astera app. That's also why we have this as a separate webinar only for the layer effects. So today we will also go through each individual of the effects which you can produce with the layer effects. So you will be experts once we are actually done here today. In case you do have any questions, simply just fire them away down in the chat here on the right side. I will answer as long as we go here. I also have my colleague Stefan here in front of me. He will read up the question and I will simply just be answering it. So I think we should just get everything cleared on the way, and just to be very, very, very clear, just ask, guys. There is no such things as stupid questions. So let us get into it. Layers effect came out at the end of 2019, which was a big release and also a big Astera app update. So the layer effects, of course, says itself. You can create different layers, and you, of course, have the full control over your pixels, and you will sooner or later understand why this is so. Perfect. The first thing we, of course, need to do when we have Astera products, I have my Astera box here in front of me, connected with Bluetooth to my tablet, which is also here. These, of course, have to stay in a short distance of each other, up to 5 meters. But with the little clip here behind, simply just have it in your pants or attached to your pants, and then you can go and do the setup or doing all the effects what is possible. The next thing is, of course, to blue light all the lights, so we can pair them here to the Astera app and also be able to control them. We have cheated a little bit, so I already paired the lights. I do believe that you, of course, know how to do it, but this is, of course, the first thing we have to do before we can control our Astera lights. Good. Going here to, okay, you also see the app here on the right side now, which is good. I always like to know if I have the latest update or the latest firmware, especially in the lights, because we are constantly updating the app, and also on the road we, of course, make new firmwares for the lights so we can be able to control them with the new features we also integrate in the Astera app. Going to the main menu, which is the 3 lines up in the right corner. Let me just close the tabs, not to confuse you more or less. Then going down to app settings, you will on top see lights background update. When we push this one, we will see all the lights we have paired, if it actually has the latest firmware compared to the version of the Astera app, of course, and both my lights are up to date. If they would be out of date, it would simply just say 2 lights out of date. A little button here on the right side would also show, press here to install firmware. Once it has been uploading the firmware to the lights, then we can turn off the light and then turn them on, and then it will install the firmware on the light. So guys, if you have more than, of course, more than the Titan tube can be that you have a mix of models from Astera, then it will, of course, also list the lights here in update lights. This is an auto update function, so it will update itself once you are using it just in the background. And of course, we can actually, once it has been uploading the firmware here to the lights, there will also be a button here so we can manually reboot it. Then it will turn off and then on, and then we have the new firmware. Good. Going out here and also closing this one and just being here in the first tab. I have the tabs in the bottom. If you do have an Android device, you have the 5 tabs up on top. I like to reset my lights before I use it, because then I start from scratch. I start from point 0. That's the best way, if you ask me, to begin a production with. We do have 4 ways to reset the lights. I'm only going through the 3 of them. And the first one is on the light itself. So these are the Titan tubes, have a display on the back. Simply just go to the menu and find the factory reset, and then confirm by pressing the enter. In case you have a AX1 pixel tube or AX3, which only have a power on off button, hold it down for approximately 5 seconds and it will reset. it will light up red once the reset has been completed. There's no difference from all the reset methods we are going through. All the lights will by default, when resetting them, go to the red light, simply just to indicate that it has been reset. Through the app is the other three ways, so let's move on to the second one. Being here in the list of connected lights, we can of course go to each one of the lights individually, and down here in the middle you will see reset lights that we can do one by one. We actually have another feature or another little short road, which I like to use very much. We can mark the icons here on the left side, which you also see in the app. If you have a lot of lights connected, we can also simply just hold down one of the icons and it will mark the whole list of connected lights, which is very fast and very easy. It's some sort of a multiple selection. Once we mark multiple lights, the magic wand will appear up in the right corner, also highlighted now, just in case you haven't seen it before. Then we can open the same view as we had before. The thing is just that we do the setup or the settings on all the lights at one time instead of one by one. Now we can press the reset lights and confirm by clicking yes right here. Now you will see that they actually turn red here, maybe a little bit hard for the camera to show, but also going back to default brightness, so now I know that they have been reset. Just allow me fast here, guys, to adjust the brightness just so we can see the nice colors. Good. So this is the second way. The third way is then going to the main menu where we have the three lines up again in the right corner. Going here to actions for all lights. And in the middle you see reset lights on pair CRMX. This one highlighted now. Good. You will realize that the lights start flickering now. Simply just telling that they are ready to get the command to be reset. Again, there's a lot of ways to do just one thing in the Astera app and things in general, so just do whatever you feel more comfortable with, guys. Highly recommended. Also depends on the situation, of course. Once they start flicker, we can simply press the enter button here on the back. Now it will flash, and then it will actually be reset once again. You can also, with this reset mode, use the remote control, which is right here. Simply just push the power on button and point and push. This can be very helpful, especially if you have a lot of cases next to each other or a lot of lights. Simply just press, point and shoot. Yeah, point and shoot. That's probably the best way to say it. And then we can simply just give the command to be reset. Once reset, push the done button, and we are out of this reset mode once again. Good. I will just adjust the brightness again, guys. Just want us to see all the colors once we go here. Being here in the list of connected lights, let's just move slowly on here to the next one, just right next to it, which is the targets. The target page is where we create groups and sets. I want to tell a little bit about why this is important, especially for the layer effects. And we, of course, have some different set selections. And in this case, we simply just press the plus button right here. Here we have the three different set selections. So we have the sync set, we have the flow set, and we have the individual lights. Good. If we can move one step forward here, that would be perfect. Great, thank you. So we have these three kind of sets, which is, of course, the sync set, where all the lights do the same at the very same time. We have the flow set, where we can create a long line of tubes, for instance, can also be the spotlights, and then we can have an effect run through. This will actually be the one we choose to do the layer effects, and you will also soon see why. Perfect. Good. Let us just move on here and create the flow set, which I have been talking so much about already. In the flow set, we can create different positions. The positions means that we can add the lights to the positions just to let them know which kind of row they come in, or simply just, we have this one here, can be, you have them in one long row. This can be the first one, second one, third position, and then we can have one pixel simply just running through the whole tube line. I am very limited with space. I'm very sorry for that. So I have just hung up the tubes like that. I do hope that it makes sense anyways. You can add up to 128 positions, so you can have a long row of 128 lights just to have an effect run over them. Super simple, super easy. Just see it here, 128. In case you have multiple lights underneath each other and you want one pixel to run through like this, simply just add more than one light to each one of the position, guys. That's of course possible. I do have 2 lights, so it also makes sense that I choose 2 positions. Pressing the big arrow will highlight the whole bar here, and now we come to the place where we can add lights to our position 1 out of 2. Now let me just add this one. Is done by clicking the enter button, like that. Now you will see the first one is actually added now. Pressing the arrow here on top, we will be able to go to position 2 out of 2. Now it would make sense to take the second one, of course. In case you already hung the lights up in the ceiling, you do not need to go up and press the enter button to assign it or to add it to this position. We can also press this bar right here, which is to add lights, press the on/off button. When we go here, you will have the whole list of connected lights, what we already have. Now we simply just mark it. Again, a little bit limited, but if you have a lot of lights, can be that you want to highlight it and see, yeah, okay, this is the one I want in this position, this is the next one in the row. Now I marked it and confirming by clicking the OK button, and now it will simply just assign it here to our set. The third way to add a light is also with the power on button here with the remote control, so you can also use this. I like this especially when we do sync sets. Now we have our lights assigned to our flow set, so let us maybe just try, we call it layer effects, then it also fits to the topic today, and we can push the arrow up in the left corner, highlighted now as well, and now we can create and finish the set. Simply just assign it to a position, depends on where you want it to lay, of course. This makes good sense for me just now. Now we can, of course, highlight it, we can deactivate, activate, control it, change effects, and so on and so on. Let us just move one step forward here. That would be very good. Perfect. Now we highlight this set because we want to operate with it. We want to see how we can create some different effects on the tubes or the lights what we have attached in this set. Now, guys, going to the tab number 3, the middle one, will bring me to the program and effect page. So in order to play a little bit around with the layers, we also need to create a new program. We can also edit an existing one, of course, but let's just create a new one. Always creating something in the Astera app, just press the plus button, which is up here in the right corner as well. Create a static red program, pushing that one, like that, and assigning it to this position. Yes, why not? So to be able to edit this goes for every one of the effects, even if it's a static color or effect program. Then we go to the editor, which is the next tab, what we see down here. Now we have to scroll a little bit. Guys, you're also more than welcome to, if you have your smartphone with the Astera app, simply just to follow with me and get the feeling with how and where everything is laying. Scrolling at the effects up on top and seeing the red bar, this is the layer effects. So now we want to edit this one. It's maybe not so obvious. That's also why I'm talking about it, of course. We have the red bar, simply just press it. And when we press it, it also opens the layer effects editor. Now we are in the editor, and also something very important, which is the first effect is the chaser. We also see the effect parameters for this specific effect. Good. So let us move on, just so everybody can follow. That would be great. Perfect. So being here in the effect parameters, just to tell you, these will change whenever we change the effect, so it will not stay the same. Also, depending on if it's a police effect, can be fluorescent. We will go through everything also so it makes more sense to you anyways. Very important whenever we create a flow set, and also having the tubes, for instance, in long row or tube line, to call it whatever you want, simply not possible here. The effect will actually start from the display side. So I have the display on this one here. So the effect would start here and go here. On this tube, the display is then in the bottom, and then it would continue like this. So we would actually have it going in a circle. Just very important, and you will also see it once you start creating or setting up some tubes. Can be a bigger setup. You will also see, okay, why does it run the other way? Maybe the tube is actually turned wrong. So just keep it in mind. This is just really important. The effect starts from the display side, so in case you really want to have a long tube line, one effect running straight through, all the tubes have to turn the same way. You will figure it out once you start operating or playing with this yourself anyways. Good. Let's start here with the chase effect. So what you see in the effect parameters is that we can control the brightness. We can simply just turn it down. Whenever we have some colors added, which you see just under the red bar in the right corner here, we can, for instance, add a second color. So the chase actually just switches between these two colors now. Going back to the parameters, the speed will simply just be able to, we can change the speed of the color changing here. We can also make the colors fade instead of changing instantly. So this is what the effect parameters is for. It's simply just to adjust the effect itself. Good. I think it makes a very good sense very, very soon. Good. So let us just skip here to the layer geometry. What you see is the two tabs underneath the long bar, what we have. The long bar is also symbolizing the whole long row of lights we have created with the flow set. You see the FX tab, and you also see the button, sorry for that, my Danish English. We have the little square here with the two arrows inside. When we push that one, will bring us to the layer geometry. Effect parameters will change, guys. They will change depending on the effect we choose. The layer geometry will at all times stay the same. Let's go through each one of them just to make this make more sense to you. We have the start position. So whenever I change the length, which you also saw that I did now, we can change the start position of this length of pixels, what we now have predefined or defined at least. Now we can change the start position. It can be that you want have a circle of tubes, want some blue coming from the right side, then you can simply just change the start position, some white from the left side, and then you can also simply just change the start position and make it easy and move the pixels around as you want to. In case you don't want to slide and be a little bit more precise, we can also double tap all the sliders, and now we can type in the exact value as we would like to have. Once we, for instance, have the start position, which could be in the middle of the first tube, then we can also do the length. So now we can also adjust the length of pixels. We can make it down to, sorry for that, make it down to 1 right here, like that, and we can still change the start position, of course. I will probably say this 20 times during the webinar anyways. No matter which kind of effect you have, the layer geometry will always be able to edit it, also the length and also the start position, of course. Depending on what you're doing, then simply just adjust the length and also the start position right here. The next is when we, for instance, have the start position, you also see actually up at the bar symbolizing or visualizing that these pixels are directly in the middle now. Now we have some possibilities to change the direction, so we can make it move. You see the arrows, we can make it go to the left or to the right. We can also stop it, or we can actually make it go back and forth. So now it will simply just be going back and forth until we, of course, stop it again. In this case, when we have it moving, we will also be able to adjust the speed up here, maybe a little bit too fast, but this also makes good sense for all of you, I believe. Perfect. So, going down to the 1 pixel simply just makes the tubes react as 1 pixel can be. You have a long line of lights or tubes. Lights is always 1 pixel, so it makes more sense to talk about the tubes. But once we push this to on, you will also see that it actually changes from tube to tube, which now acts as 1 pixel itself. In case you really want to specify the pixels a little bit better, simply just push the off button and we have it more like that. The edge we can of course also adjust, so let me just change the start position right here and do it like that. The edge with very hard edges is of course the one I have already chosen here on the left side. We can also choose to have the left one a little bit more smooth and adjust the edge fade. You will also see it. Maybe we just erase this color so we don't get so confused and actually can see something. Going back to the geometry and now adjusting the edge fade. You will see the top tube right up here is actually more smooth on the edge right now. The same we can do for the right side in case if needed, just like that. Or we can do it with both sides. I also think this makes pretty good sense, simply just smoothen out the edges a little bit more depending on the situation you are in, of course. If we have this effect running, boom, good. I actually just jumped over something here, I'm sorry for that, I'm just messing up a little bit. But let us just try the loop. The loop also is for if you wanna, let's say, when you activate the effect, you already saved the layer effect as a program on the front page. Then we can have it loop 6 times and then stop at the start position. So 6 times you will see it now stops at the start position, what we have. We can also change the start position, for instance here, make it a little bit shorter, could also be like that. And now have it running in a loop over 5 times. So once it has been doing the 5 times loop, it will simply just stop at the start position again. Good. There you see, has stopped once again. Let me just remove this loop right here and stop it. The repeater right here is actually simply just to repeat the pixels or the effect. So you also see now that we simply just repeat it on the whole tube length what we have, then we can make it running. It can be that you want it to look like that, then you can simply just repeat the effect. I am very sure that your imagination is very good, so I also believe that you know where you could use this in a given situation. Let's just go down to the 1 and have it running. Perfect. Maybe the length a little bit. What you see now down in the very bottom, now I already talked about the edge fade and edge, but doesn't really matter. Now we have it, for instance, running the red here. Now you see the post delay. Actually, what the post delay means is that we create a virtual extension of the tube line. So you will see now it takes a little bit time to come back into the tubes. It's simply just because it runs out and further out on the virtual extension of the tubes, what we create with the post delay. I will come a little bit more into this, but this can also be very useful for if you want to create a driving car effect. Could also be then you can create a little bit more realistic, but I guess you are the experts here, so I'm just telling what the post delay of course can do. This is simply just creating an virtual extension of the tubes. Perfect. Let us just do it like this. Good. Guys, if I do move a little bit too fast forward, let me know and I will slow down a little bit. Now talking about the effects and also talking about colors. For instance, when we take the chase effect right here, we can add up to a total amount of, let's say, 8 colors as we see right here. So I can add up to 8 colors as much as I please, depending on changing different colors, simply just like that. So you will also see now it changes between all the colors, what I also have chosen. Not all the effects can do up to 8 colors. It depends a little bit on the effect, but you will also see it once we start to run through all the effects itself. So the chase effect up to 8 colors. Good. Now, if we have an effect which is running, can be the red color, what we have here, maybe just adjusting the pose delay a little bit more, so it simply just runs directly into the other tube, a little bit smaller. This is how I want my effect. Then we can, of course, save the effect and also rename it. So here we have red running, could be. And then up in the right corner, simply just hit the Save Desk icon, and we can save the effect. Now you will see down here in the bottom, we have exactly the same picture with the effect, so we are not in doubt which kind of effect we actually saved in this tile. Now we can just activate it, and it will run smooth and nice as we just have created it. Good. Let us go back to the editor here, and let us move on. Opening the editor one more time, and now taking the next effect, which is now the police effect. Just let me make the whole bar here, and you will also see it actually starts blinking. And you also see that the parameters have changed a bit. Now, what you see is, of course, the speed of the blinking. Maybe we should stop it from moving. Good. Now you see it simply blinks. We can adjust the speed of the blinking here, of course. What we also have a little bit special, I like it, is the patterns. The patterns, 28 different blinking patterns from all over the world. Simply just choose, and we have a different blinking pattern. What we also can do is, of course, adding a blue color, for instance. So now we have them blue-red. For me, it symbolizes some police cars, especially good. Let us try take the quad RL. Then you see the blinking also changes. So the patterns change. Down in the bottom, we have the face. You see it's not active. The face will be active once we choose one of the 4 last ones. So the 25, 26, 27, and 28, the alternating patterns. Let's take the EU3 flashes, for instance. Now you see it blinks like this, 3 flashes, 1 each. And now we can phase it out. I hope you can see it, how it actually looks like. So, depending again on the situation, you have simply just the possibility to create a lot of different police car effects. Just how you want it can also be, it fits more to the country you are currently in or during the production. Then of course it makes a lot of sense to have 28 different patterns you can freely choose from. The next effect is the fluorescent. So we just start from left to right. Now you see that the patterns here, not the patterns, the parameters also have changed again. Now we have the startup, we have flicker, and we have sync. Just want to change this color here, like that. Good. And this one, good, perfect. The parameters in the fluorescent, now that we have the startup, simply defines how long time it should take to start up. So once it has start up, it will just be turned on, as you see now. Once it has been turned on, we can also adjust how much it should flicker. So now you will see I'm simply just turning this one on. Now it flickers very much. We can just turn it down a little bit. Now it don't flicker so much. So it can be some old fluorescence. You want it to look like old fluorescence, maybe a little bit new. If you have a lot of tubes, you can also have them blink all at the same time. Simply just the sync has to be on. So now they will blink at the very same time. Let's just try to do that. And of course, when we do it off, then it's out of sync, so they will blink a little bit more randomly. Also depending on the situation, but I also just want to let you know that it is there and it's possible. Going to the next one, which is actually the paparazzi. So the paparazzi, let's make this one a little bit colder white. Illustrates a little more like a blitz maybe. You see again the parameters. And guys, I just want you to remember, even though if we adjust the parameters on the effect right here, we can at all times go to the geometry and adjust the length. So now you also see that the paparazzi effect only is here, and we can of course choose the start position as well. We can make it running, like you see right there. So the geometry can at all times be used. Just keep it in mind. Let us make this one long. Good. The effect parameters in the paparazzi is where you can add photographers. So you can make it look like, let's say, actually up to 32 photographers. Simply just add it, and you will also see that the tubes, maybe we just do like that, exactly. Now we have something looking like 21 photographers. Here you can decide, you can also adjust the speed of the blinking, or the blitz, more right, like that I think, and simply just like that. So you can adjust and you can create whatever you want for your production here as well. Going to the next one, which is the welding effect, so like a burning arc. Can adjust the speed, and we can of course adjust the color here also. Let me just adjust the edge. I don't want to have it, just like that, good. So now we have the welding effect, changing the speed, and we can also change the color. Of course, one color here, as you might see, like that. This is the welding effect. I think it makes good sense anyway. So the next one here is the fire effect. Some of you might have seen it from the Astera app already. Here we can, of course, change the speed of the burning or the flickering to make it look like it's burning. And we can add the colors here as well. Maybe it's a little bit too bright. Just want to adjust the brightness here a little bit so we can see it. Perfect. So this is the fire effect. You can choose between two different colors. Can be that you also want to create another effect than a fire effect. Then of course this is also possible. Here the brightness and the speed can be adjusted. Going to the next one, which is random colors. So this is actually some colors we have predefined. You can change the speed of the color changing. You can also crossfade speed right here. Simply just add. You'll also see that they fade a little bit more. And now let me just add some segments here, maybe 8. Yeah, good. We can add segments of the random colors, so it will randomly change between the colors we already have defined. Now we can sync the segments, so in case we don't want them to randomly change between the colors, we can also have them changing all at the same time. In case you are not happy with the colors we have predefined, you can also use your own colors, so don't be afraid. Use palette, just push the on button here, and we can start adding up to 8 different colors. Just like that, as simple it can be that you only want 4 segments over the whole tube line, then this is possible. Again, we can adjust the length, and we can also make it run, and we can also change the start position, add some edge, fade. You can do everything what you want, guys. Just keep it in mind. I can't say it enough. Just want to make it clear. Good. Going to the next one, which is the fireworks effect. Simply just make it look like firework. We can again adjust the speed, and we can also adjust the burn duration. The burn duration, the higher, the longer the fireworks is actually exploding in the sky. In case we turn this down, you will also see that it's simply just dung, 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 so it doesn't hang, or the effect do not hang so long time in the sky. I like it to have maybe, depending on the situation and the production of course, but here we can add some burn duration. Again, we can add segments, so it can be that you want it to look like a lot of fireworks at one time. We again defined the colors. In case you are not happy with them, you can again use your own colors as well. Just pressing the plus or the on button, and we can now add our own colors to the fireworks we want to simulate. So here, simply just add up to 8 segments, or we can have it like that. And also remember the burn duration here again. Good. Going to the next one, which is the TV effect, we can actually, the speed of the flickering can be that it's an action movie, and also the color change speed. So actually how fast the colors should change in between each other can be that it's a slow movie, can be that it's an action scene, than what the person is watching, then we can of course do this. You can again here choose your own colors, guys. We didn't predefine anything. So here we can just add whatever we want, just like that. And then we can of course adjust the speed to the color change and also to the how fast it should flicker. The next one is the gradient. I don't think there's so much to say about that. It simply just is in each other. So you have a gradient here. You can make it move to the right. You can have it move to the left. And you can also stop it if needed. Just have to hit the button and then you have it stopped as well. Here you can again add up to 8 different colors. So simply just choose whatever you need for the given situation again. The last effect is now the zebra. You see the parameters only have the brightness, or only. And here again in the zebra we can add up to 8 different colors. Maybe another one there. And again the geometry, we can adjust the length if needed. We can have it run to the left, to the right, to the left. And again have it act as 1 pixel if we need to. Geometry, always there, guys. Always there for you to use it as well. Good. So this is actually all the effects what is here in the Astera app, not the Astera app, but in the layer effects. And I hope that the effects also makes a lot of sense to you and that you can imagine a little bit where you can use it. I do highly recommend that you also sit down, try play it with it yourself and also to get the feeling, because you can do a lot of things. This has taken me roundabout soon 1 year just to know everything about the layer effects, what I know. There is always some things where I can also learn a little bit due to the layer effects. So just play a little bit before you do the big production. Just highly recommended, guys. Highly recommended. Good. Now calling it layer effects also makes sense that we can add some layers, of course. So let us just try stop this right here. The length could be maybe like that, and just the brightness a little bit down, 50%. Double tap if we want to be a little bit more precise, and doing it like that. Good. When you scroll down, you will see add layer. In case you want to delete a layer once created, you see delete layer is just under the parameters right here. But let us start at a layer and making it a little bit shorter and having it just here on the right side. Now we have added a layer. You can, depending on the layer, depending on the situation you're in, you can add paparazzi to this one layer. What we just created can be something like this, maybe making it like that. And we can, for instance, add another layer, make it a little bit shorter, having it here in the middle. And now we could have the fluorescent tube, for instance, just like that. Maybe here in the middle, exactly. Close it. And now you also see the virtual line of all the things we create, just like that. So guys, you can create actually up to 8 different layers in one program effect. So depending on what you are doing, can be you want something to come from the right side, can be that you want something just to run through and some fixed effects on the tube line, then this is possible with this layer. So you simply just create a lot of layers depending on what kind of effect you want to create. Can be some blue coming from the left side, maybe some red from the from the right side, sorry for that. And you can do simply just whatever you want with this layer effects, up to 8 layers. Once we have created some different layers here as well, we can deactivate if we don't need the red color anymore. So now we can simply just deactivate, we can do whatever we want here, and you will also see the effect picture or the picture for the tile changes up in the top. You will always be able to see which effects are active. Let's say we have the fluorescent out. You see we have the 2 red colors now, and we save it. You also see the picture here in the tile actually saves. You will never be in doubt which kind of effect actually lays in this specific tile. Just remember that you can deactivate it. Can be that you don't need the fluorescent for this production, but can be that you want to only use the red ones. So just keep it in mind, deactivate, activate the layers. Perfect. Let us try to do some effects and have them run at the same time. Let us just save this one and let's create a new one just to have a little bit fun. Now edit this one and now going to the layer effects. Yes. Opening the editor and now going to the first effect, which is now the driving car effect I want to reproduce a little bit. Choosing a color which also makes a little bit good sense. Going to the geometry, changing the length. Start position in this case is actually fine for me. Let me just adjust the brightness just a bit. Good. And now have it run. If I can hit the button, sorry, messing up a little bit. Now we have it running. So it could look like a driving car. I want, however, to adjust the speed a bit. It's driving a lot fast, but this would be probably a little bit too fast. So we can add the post delay now and simply just having it like that. Imagine that you have it maybe a tube line instead. Now we have that. Closing that one, I'm happy. Now adding a layer and going to the next one, opening here the layer and now going to the fluorescent. Of course, a fluorescent in my eyes is a little bit more warm, depending, but let's just do it. Now I want this one to come from the right side, which then will mean this one right here. Perfect. So, doing it like that, adjusting here the startup time a little bit, and I also wanted to flicker a little bit more once it's actually turned on. So now from the right side we have some fluorescent effect coming, and also at the same time we have a driving car effect running straight through the tube line. The next thing now would be that we have the photographers, the paparazzi. Yeah. So let us just add this to the layer and have the blitz like that, and then from the middle we have some space. Just look at the visual effect, not effect, but the visual lines or the bars up here, because I really don't need to look at the tubes. I can for sure see where everything is just based on these bars up here. Now adding a little bit photographers, a driving car, just like that. So now we have actually the setup what I want. We have a driving car, or at least an effect running through, with a fluorescent coming from the right side, and in the middle we then have a paparazzi effect. In case I don't want the fluorescent, I only want the paparazzi and also a driving car, then this would probably be the way to illustrate it or to make it. Just to give you a little bit of an idea how fast it actually can be created, we can deactivate, activate, also how easy it is actually to create and also to manage to change the effect, adjust a little bit here, adjust a little bit there, just to let you know and so you can see how it actually works whenever you do a production where you need these effects. Good. So guys, this was basically the effects and also a little bit in use. I hope it makes sense also the way I try to explain it. In case it don't, remember, we still have the chat on the right side. Out of sync, yes. Let's say we have a long tube line, can be with 10 tubes, but you want to add 2 extra tubes at the end. Then because the layers are actually integrated in the lights itself, it might be out of sync. So in case you maybe are wondering, the effect doesn't really run through, but I turned the lights the right way and my setup is also right, then it actually can be because it's out of sync. Then we have to resync it. The way to resync it can be that you, like I said, add some extra lights a little bit after you already made the setup. Then we have the circle with the arrow. The circle arrow up in the right corner also highlighted now. When we press this one, we can resync the lights into the layer effects, and then you should be back on track. So in case something looks a little bit odd or it looks a little bit strange, resync, and then you should be back on track once again. Just want to let you know, can be that you are not quite aware, but then simply just press the button and then we have it resynced and working once again. Good. Let us save this one and call it, we call it driving car papa. So, okay, so now we have it. We actually have a question. Yes, please, Stefan, please.
We have a question from Dylan.
Yeah.
Once the layers are set up, can you add and remove lights?
Actually, you can. So it becomes a little bit more. Okay, let's try do this, Dylan. When we go back to our target list right here, so we have to predefine the list, not the list, but the tube line, or we have the line of lights what we want to create the layer effects with. Going here to the layer effects, activating it, pushing the pencil up in the right corner, then we can say edit tile. So what we have to do is simply just edit the actual set where we want to remove or add some lights. So now we can say edit tile. What you will see is that we have position 1 out of 2. If we actually hold down, you can't see it, it's not highlighted, sorry for that. If you just hold down the light on itself and release it. Wait a sec. Okay, that is not cooperating at the moment. Okay. Hold it down for a couple seconds, release it, and then it will say remove lights, yes, no. Then we can remove it by saying yes. In case you want to add more lights to this flow set, we can actually just go here to position 2 out of 2 and press the plus button. Then you can say add positions, we want to add 6 more, okay. Then we have now 8 positions going back to position number 3, and then we can start add another light. Dylan, I hope it makes sense. You can remove lights and add lights simply just like that, and I do hope it makes sense what I'm trying to explain here. Good. A new thing which came out here with an update 1.5 months ago, maybe 2 months now, is actually once we create a lot of effects in the Astera app, maybe a lot of scenes, a lot of layer effects, static colors, but we have lost the overview because everything is just mixed up. Now we can actually go to the top corner, pushing the pencil icon, and now in the middle you see insert a page to the left or to the right. Oh, sorry for that, guys. This is an empty page. So we can insert an empty page to the left, for instance. Now we have an empty page. Now we can scroll back and hit the pencil button again. Now we can arrange tiles. Once we do that, we can hold down one of the tiles, and now we can start to actually move it around. Holding it here to the left side and just release it wherever we want. And now we can create a better overview. So maybe only a page for the layer effects can also be that you want a few pages only with static colors you use often. Then this is the way to do it. Once we have rearranged it, we have to press the checkmark button up in the right corner right there. Good. The same way goes for the target page right here. Pencil button, insert page to the left, to the right, and arrange tiles as well. Good. Now we have created a lot of effects, and can be that we're afraid that the tablet goes broke, and then we sort of lose all what we have created. It can be a lot of colors and also effects, sets, all this kind of stuff, what we all know about. Then we can of course create a backup, and then we can restore it afterwards. Going to the main menu, going down here to app settings, and in the middle of everything you then see the backup and restore. That's what was the RF region, we need that one. Now you see the backups I already have created, but to create a new one, we press the plus button, and now we can rename it. So we can call it layer effects webby and hit the OK button. Here now, pushing the layer effects webby, we can actually share it, share the backup file, and we can share it with a coworker. We could also restore the backup, so you could sort of do it as project files, some sort of. Can also be you want to share it to your own email and save it on a folder on your laptop, PC, just to keep it safe. So in case we want to share this, we can press the sharing button, also highlight it now. And we can send it by message, email, some sort of like that. Once you receive a file and want to install it, then just open it and push it on the unit itself. And now hit the restore button. We can restore everything. When we deactivate this one, we can also restore the program effects, targets, we can share the radio pin, settings, we can our favorite colors, we can do whatever we would like to do. So in case you only want the programs, what one of your colleagues have, just hit the programs and effects, and then you will get it. Just make a backup on your own Astera app before restoring this backup with the effects what you need. Just something to keep in mind, guys. Good. So, I think we have reached the end, and before we actually end the whole webinar today, Stefan, do we have any questions? Okay. Dylan, or also all of you other guys, in case you have any questions after the webinar, my email is displayed here on the right side now. You are more than welcome to give me an email, and I will of course answer you and help as good and as fast as I can. I hope you learned something about the layer effects today, guys. I hope also to see you soon. Of course, we have on our website all these webinars recorded, so if you want just to refresh it, you will find it under the menu point called Academy, and down in the bottom we have the archive with all the recorded webinars. Guys, I hope to see you soon. Stay healthy and stay safe. See you the next time.